Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by former Maryland women's lacrosse player who recently just announced her transfer to Clemson next season, Demma Hall. Before her collegiate career, Demma was the number 3 ranked recruit in the 2021 class by Inside Lacrosse. She was also the Player of the Year in 2021's USA Today Women's Lacrosse National Player of the Year, and was an Under Armour All-American. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Demma, and how's everything going?
It's good. I'm excited to be a part of this. Yeah, and I'm ready to get started.
Well, how has your summer been going so far? And do you have anything planned for this summer, whether it's lacrosse related or not?
Yeah, so throughout this summer, I'm just coaching a team, a club team. I also train little girls throughout the summer. I do a few pickup leagues here and there. And yeah, pretty much just training for lacrosse. It's pretty much an all lacrosse summer. So
What are you hoping to work on for next season?
yeah, so one of my main things I'd say is footwork and conditioning. Because I think coming in, footwork, I mean, if you have the footwork, the speed and everything, I think everything else falls into place with like your athletic ability, but also conditioning. I mean, if you're conditioning and getting ready, then you can just focus on lacrosse and you don't have to focus on being tired. You can just fully focus on the game.
Now, obviously, it was recently announced that you will be transferring to Clemson next season. What led you to make the decision to enter the transfer portal, and why was Clemson the school for you?
Yeah, so I decided to enter the portal. Nothing against Maryland. I absolutely loved the team. I loved the campus. I loved the coaches. Everything about it was great. But I think I kind of wanted something more where I could be more impactful and kind of just make a change and make a difference. And I'm very competitive, so that was kind of itching at me the whole time. But no, I really loved it, and um, I knew Clemson was the place for me because, I mean, right when I stepped on campus, I felt so much love. The coaches really impressed me. I mean, when I got there, the campus, it's unbeatable. I mean, I went on a boat tour, so that was something else. But yeah, I fell in love with the campus and the coaches and everything about it.
And what are your goals and expectations with Clemson next season? And have you had the chance to sort of meet your new teammates, and what's that been like?
Yeah, so well, throughout, I haven't met the team fully, but I actually did have a chance to go to school with Emily Lamparter and Emma Tilson, as they went to Maryland before too. And they absolutely loved it. But my goals for this year is just to continue what they started. I mean, they had such a phenomenal first season, and that's something that I really loved about them. And I just want to go in there and show everyone that like Clemson's ready, like we're here. And it's something that I'm super excited about.
Is there a difference in the style of play between the ACC versus the Big Ten?
I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see like I think a lot of it's very similar. I mean, we're both are very competitive, love to win. So I see a lot of similarities for sure. But I'm excited to be a part of something different. Maybe some different experiences, different teams. I can't wait to play the teams like UNC, Boston College, because I didn't really get to see them at Maryland. We were always Northwestern, but yeah, I see a lot of similarities, a few differences, but I'm excited. They're both awesome.
So I want to transition now and talk about the beginning of your lacrosse career and work all the way up to where you are today. So you're from Skiesville, Maryland. Talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing lacrosse?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up in Maryland, it's awesome in itself because it's kind of the hot spot for lacrosse. So you always know you're gonna get the best level of competition, especially being from here. I mean, and I definitely started a shout out to my dad because he got me and my sister really involved in the sport. He's always been competitive. We've always been competitive. My sister went to University of Florida for lacrosse. So we've always been super involved. And of course, my mom and dad got me into the club, M&D, which started very young. So yeah, just my family, we've always been super into lacrosse. My dad got us where we are today. So
And did you watch a lot of lacrosse growing up? And if so, who are some of your favorite players and teams that you admired?
yeah, so I actually watched a ton of lacrosse growing up, especially having a sister that was 6 years older than me. Um, I always was watching her. I mean, she's, of course, it sounds a little cheesy, but she's someone that I fully loved watching, looked up to. She was just, I was thought it was the coolest thing to go to her M&D games, her club games. I was always that little sister that was just there supporting. Um, but like going on to like technical, I'd say Katie Sportsman was someone. that I looked up to because I mean, she went to my high school and then she ended up going to Maryland, and I kind of did both of those. So I always thought I always compared us two because we kind of had the same, we were brought up the same.
Now, like you mentioned, you grew up in a very big lacrosse hotbed in Maryland. So just talk about what it's like being a player in the Maryland lacrosse scene and just what's the culture like, especially for the women's game, because it seems to get bigger and bigger each year.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like I mentioned earlier, it's amazing being in Maryland, because you always know, like I said, you're gonna face the best of the best competition. I mean, playing on a team like M&D, you were always gonna face like the Skywalkers and stuff like that. And we're all from Maryland. So just knowing in the back of your head that you're getting better because you're constantly playing the best of the best is just something that I absolutely love. Um, but the culture is just like everyone wants to win. Like, I mean, no matter where you are, I mean, girls lacrosse is, I mean, any sport's very competitive, but just knowing where you're from and kind of how big it is just something that like I take with me because I'm like, this is my sport and like my area is like popular for it. So I think it's really cool and it's something that I love.
Now, before college, you played for your high school at Century. Talk about your lacrosse experience with Century and what you took away from your high school lacrosse experience.
Yeah. So my high school experience was actually amazing. Like I couldn't have hoped or wished for a better experience there. I mean, whether it was the teammates, I mean, the girls, I felt welcomed from the second that I stepped on campus at Century. I mean, I felt so much love, even from my coaches. Century was awesome. I learned so much from that. I mean, the main takeaway I would take from that was a lot of leadership because I mean, my coach, Becky Gross, she always kind of made it known that you don't have to be a senior to be a leader. Like you can come in, you can be a freshman, any age, like you can be young and still make an impact. So I think a lot of us took that with each other and with ourselves because I mean, if you come in and you don't know what anyone's gonna think, like you're like, are these girls gonna like me? Of course, because I mean, anyone's gonna think that as a young girl. But no, the team took me right in. They heard me out. I heard them out. We went to each other for advice, and it was a really great experience. I loved the girls and the team and the coaches and everything. It was great.
And when you look back on your high school like career, what do you think is like the best memory you have from that time?
I would definitely have to say my senior year. So it was after COVID. So it was kind of like a senior year, a COVID year with our senior game. And so it was kind of shortened. And so it was like senior week, which like is beach week, and we had playoffs. So of course we were like, we kind of want to get a taste of both because we've missed out on so much already. Just due to COVID, we lost a lot. So we were like, let's go to a little bit of senior week, but we're coming back for the game no matter what. So of course, everyone, the parents and coaches, everyone's like, are they going to be tired? Like, we don't know. But it was a quarterfinal game and it was versus Glenelg, and you never knew. We were both highly, highly competitive with each other. So you never knew what the outcome was going to be. And us coming from senior week, everyone was like, oh, what's it going to be like? And we ended up playing outstanding. I mean, all of us together as a team, like we wouldn't have won that game without each and every one of us. But no, the best feeling, I mean, we ended up winning that game. The feeling when you run out on the field with your teammates is just like no other. Like it feels like all your hard work paid off, and I just will never forget all of us, that feeling after we won. It was pouring down rain. It was such a dramatic effect, but yeah, no, it was awesome. And that's definitely something I'll remember honestly for the rest of my life.
Now, how did your high school lacrosse experience help prepare you for college?
Yeah, so kind of like I said earlier, I would definitely say the leadership aspect because all of us, like we would lead from being a freshman all the way to being a senior, and I learned a lot. And I think that taught me that relying on your teammates is everything, and them relying on you is everything. And with that being said, you kind of can take that with you to the next level, and I did, and that was something like you can be impactful being so young, and that's something that I definitely look to.
Now, talk about your initial recruiting process with Maryland and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at.
Yeah. So of course I was really young when I decided to do that. And it was amazing. It was everything I wanted. I was young. I wanted to be close to home, which I still do not regret whatsoever. I mean, yes, I'm not going there now, but I would never take back the experience that I had. I think I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So I think I needed to be close to home at first to kind of get that experience. and I loved it. And now I kind of matured my way to realize I can go somewhere further. And now I think I'm ending up at like my dream school. And I think it's going to be a very, very happy ending, ending up at Clemson. But yeah, no, my recruiting process was awesome. The coaches treated me amazing. The girls were awesome. I wouldn't take it back for anything.
And obviously, the recruiting rule has changed since you last committed. Do you like the new rule, and do you think it would have? I'm curious if you think you would have still gone to Maryland if the rules were different, like the rules they were now versus when
Yeah.
you were in high school.
Yeah, I mean, when I did commit so young, I did hear a little bit of backlash from some people about how I was too young and stuff. But I mean, I was always very mature, and I knew what I wanted. Like I don't think it would have changed at all because I wanted to go close to home. I got that experience. I know what it's like. So now I can be like, I know what it's like to be close to home, but I also know what it's like to be far from home. And I think that's so cool because not everyone can say that. But yeah, I honestly think it would have been the same because I don't know. I loved it, and it's no hate towards Maryland at all. It's just something new that I needed
Mhm.
for me and my mental health. So I just think, yeah, I think it would have stayed the same. But I think the rule's awesome. I think it's great. But I really don't regret like the decision that I made back when I was younger.
Now, what was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse? Was it the speed of the game, the physicality, or just sort of the less time that you have to sort of make decisions when you have the ball?
Yeah, I would definitely say honestly overall the conditioning because I mean in like during club seasons and high school season it's more all focusing on just lacrosse and like a few sprints at the end. But like of course like it's a faster game when you get older, everyone's older, faster. So you have to really focus on that conditioning part. So I think definitely just realizing that it's just running and you're making yourself better and not really overthinking that piece was something big for me. But yeah, I would definitely just say realizing that like you're gonna run and you're gonna run a lot, but it's okay. Like it's good for you.
Now, we talked about sort of the difference between the style of play between the ACC and the Big Ten, but I do want to ask, what was it like playing in the Big Ten and just the competition that you faced every game? I guess a lot of people make the argument that it's the best conference in women's lacrosse, and I guess they have a point since Northwestern won this past year. But what would you say? What would you say? Sort of what it was like, I guess, playing in the Big Ten as a lacrosse athlete.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, it's something that you grow up dreaming about with whether it's the Big Ten or the ECC. Like you just hear about those conferences a lot. So I think the younger self in me was very, very proud and just very excited that this was actually happening and that I actually made it to where I was. But it was awesome. I mean, you get excited to play teams like Northwestern or even on the ACC side, like good teams because you also like respect the players you play. Like being able to play Izzy Skane and stuff like that, like that's awesome. And that's something that like no one else can really take away from you. So it was cool. It was a really cool experience. And I think it's something, again, I wouldn't change whether it's Big Ten or ACC. I think it's so cool.
Now, during your freshman year, you won the Big Ten championship and made it all the way to the Final Four. What did you sort of take away from that experience and the success that your team had that year, especially with yourself not really getting as much playing time as you would have wanted?
Yeah. I mean, especially being a freshman at that time, of course, I wanted to be there for my teammates, but at the same time, I was. And the experience was just it was unreal. I mean, I remember our coaches before that experience telling us to really take it in when you walk on that field. And I mean, it is unmatched the feeling that you feel when you walk out. I mean, like I said, my younger self was just like, is this real? Because it's like, I've dreamt of this moment. I mean, yes, we didn't make it as far as we wanted to, but I've dreamt of this moment my entire life. And to really like have both of my feet standing there and just looking up at the crowd and seeing how far women's lacrosse has come and the sport in general was unreal and something that I will remember forever.
Did you get a ring for the Big Ten championship or the
We
only?
did.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
we did.
Where do you keep that?
I actually had it all like next to my desk in College Park, Maryland, and now I brought it and it's just chilling. I'm like, I can't wear it because it's kind of cool, so I just like keep it as a show.
Yeah, you got to frame that or do something with
Oh
it.
yeah,
Because I'm not a big ring guy as well.
yeah, right.
Even though I never won one, unfortunately, but it's definitely something that I would want to like show off but not wear. I don't know like how you would make that work, but
Yeah,
I think you did the best of both worlds. So
yeah.
now your sophomore year, you scored your first collegiate goal against Ohio State. Talk about that goal and just what it meant to you.
No, that really did truly mean a lot to me, especially because my freshman year, I went through a lot of like anxiety and like just of course any freshman like getting used to playing there again. And I think also just my teammates' reaction and the way that they celebrated me just was the best feeling ever because I also think they all kind of knew how hard I am on myself and kind of everything I was going through my freshman year, just trying to get through that like anxiousness and kind of just playing through and finding my confidence back, which I did my sophomore year. I made a huge leap. So just feeling that and like feeling like all my hard work was paying off was such a good feeling.
Would you say your improvement in confidence was the biggest reason for your improvement between your freshman year to your sophomore year?
100%. I think I am a very firm believer that confidence can take you almost as far as you want it to. I mean, if you believe in yourself, you can go far because I mean, especially all of us at the level we play, like we're all going to be good, but it's like believing in yourself and knowing how much you can really do. Your athletic ability is going to shine through if you just let it. Like if your mind just understands and believes that you can do hard things. Like you can do this. And just getting used to that was something that I really focused on. And I noticed a huge difference in just my abilities can just shine through without me overthinking every step.
Now, what would you say sort of like how you worked on your confidence between your freshman year and your sophomore year? Because I feel like confidence is so easy to lose it. Like one play, you can lose your entire confidence, but it can take like 4 or 5 games sometimes to gain your confidence back. So I'm curious how you sort of worked on that during your sophomore year and how you look back on it now compared to what you did your freshman year and sort of how
Yeah,
you
I would
continue to
say,
build that heading into
yeah.
Clemson.
I would say preparation is very huge. I mean, I've always been a pretty hard worker, but just really, really focusing and like realizing like when you do something good, actually tell yourself that it's good instead of always focusing on the bad. Because I mean, I've always been told that I'm a perfectionist. Like I like things to be perfect. But yeah, I really focused on the preparation piece, running as much as possible and just knowing, like believing in myself and just knowing like you're here for a reason. And I worked with my coaches had me work with a few sports psychologists to kind of work through that. And I couldn't thank them enough. Like they really saw like I have the confidence. I just need to show it and prove it because I mean it's just definitely preparation and just being able to talk through kind of the blocking. Like I was just anxious. But I did notice a huge difference once I mean I really came through a place where I just second guessing everything, and that's not fun. Like I I'm meant to be where I am, and I think I just really needed to prove that to myself and my teammates and my coaches because that's also really all that matters. Like you can't focus on the outside noise. You just have to prove it to yourself mainly, your teammates, your coaches, and your family because they know how much work you're putting into it.
Now, what will you take away from your lacrosse experience with Maryland? I know you sort of touched on it in previous questions, but obviously there was a lot of positive things to take away from it. And you're obviously leaving there with a championship ring, which usually if you're leaving with a ring, it means it was a pretty good time.
Yeah, no, it was a great time. The main thing I'm going to take away from that is the friendships I made. I mean, shout out Jordan Lipkin. She was like my best friend. She still is my best friend. And like, that's someone that's going to be at my wedding. And like that, I can't thank Marilyn enough for that because I mean, we, we talk every 5 seconds every day. So that's like a really, really big thing that I'll take from there. And I can't thank Marilyn enough for that. But also just learning how to like my confidence again. Like that's something I'll take. Like everyone really believed in me and like my teammates were always there, like which you'll see with any team in which I know I can take right to me with Clemson because the coaches, I mean, they were awesome. I know they believed in me by like how they were telling me and like talking. It was great. It was really like refreshing to hear. But yeah, from Maryland, I'll definitely take away my friendships and just realizing that I regained all my confidence back and I couldn't be more excited for what's to come.
So we're now in a segment I like to call 6 questions that have nothing to do with lacrosse. And the hope of the segment is to hopefully get to know you a little bit more off the
Yeah.
field, along with some of your teammates as well that you played with. So the first one is if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Okay, the first name that comes to my head when I think about this is Kevin Hart. And I know it's not a girl, but I think he's like awesome. And I think he would just put like a funny twist to everything. But picking like a girl, I think I'd have to pick I think her name's Anna Kendrick. I don't know if that's her name from Pitch Perfect or not, but she was the one that did like the cup song. I always noticed in like the movies, how she was always like really determined to like get what she wanted and like she was confident about it and everything. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, like I think in Jumanji, Kevin Hart and The Rock played
Yeah,
different people, so maybe it could be something like that. I think that would
yeah,
be fun. Uh,
definitely.
for me, probably Tom Cruise. I think
Oh,
seems super fun.
yeah.
Just the way he does all the stunts in the movies, and I think he would make my life a lot more
Oh,
interesting.
that's sick. Yeah.
I'll probably choose him.
Nice.
Now, what music do you like to listen to?
Okay, I actually love this question because I have zero preference. I'm like, I could be listening. All my friends are always like, how did you just go from this to that? And I'm like, because if I like the song, it's just add. Like I don't know the genre. Like I could go from country to pop in like one switch of a song because I don't know. If I like the song, if I like the tune, I'm just gonna add it and go with it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Don't worry. I have a playlist for each genre of music, so whatever mood I'm in, I just go to that
Yep.
playlist.
Yep.
But I'm probably a little more like I can go to Frank Sinatra to
Oh
Drake,
yeah.
which I don't know many people can do that. So
That's awesome.
now, what is the most overrated holiday and what is the most underrated holiday?
Okay, this is okay. I think the older you get, Christmas becomes so underrated because everyone's like, I'm older now, like I can't get in the Christmas spirit as much. And I'm like, but we can, like, we can still have Christmas and make it fun. So I think the older you get, the more underrated it gets, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then for overrated, I really don't think I can pick any because I just love holidays and like I love being with my family and stuff. I can't really think of any that I'm like, oh, that shouldn't be a holiday because I don't know. I love celebrating stuff with my family and friends. I think it's awesome.
You like Valentine's Day even?
I think I do. Like some people think it's like a little cheesy, but like love, I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
guess.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just feel like it seems like you should probably express your love for someone every day, not
Okay,
just
that's
at a
very true. That's
particular
very
holiday.
true.
And I feel like people put more energy on Valentine's Day than a random day in February. And
Okay,
I feel
that's
like
a
it
very
needs to be a fair, I think, amount of giving
yes,
of your
very
someone's.
fair point.
So that's sort of why I think it's probably the worst holiday in my
Yep.
opinion. But I think overrated is probably Halloween, just because once you're
Okay.
an adult, you can't go trick or treating anymore. And if you're
True,
not into
true.
dressing up, like there's really not much in that holiday that you can do to have fun, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's probably why I'll choose Halloween. I know that's probably a controversial one. And then
No, I hear you.
underrated is probably Christmas Eve or Fourth of July, just because there's like not a lot of, I guess, pressure with those two holidays, but it's always a,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
even
Cool.
though this past Fourth of July was weather was so bad, it kind of
I
ruined.
know. What was that about?
It was just raining. It was bad. I don't know. I wish
Yes.
so. It was like it was probably one of the worst Fourth of Julys in a while. But normally that holiday is a lot of fun to be a part
I
of.
agree. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Now, who has the best style on the Maryland women's lacrosse team besides yourself?
I'm gonna shout out Tori Hench. I always think she walks in with the cutest outfits and like the best shoes and style and stuff. I always made sure I complimented her when I saw something I liked. But yeah, she definitely has great style.
What's the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
I'm gonna have to say the submarine stuff. I mean, it was like last week, but I think that's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, I also read something about a shark attack, and now I actually refuse to get in the ocean because it's no, no.
yeah.
Sharks scare me.
Yeah, that submarine story was pretty crazy. Obviously, unfortunate what happened, but at the
Yes.
same time, like I don't understand why you would pay $250,000 to go in a tiny Pringles can to see the
Nope.
Titanic.
My
What-
cluster foot. Nope. I couldn't do
And
it.
like I, it's a great the Titanic's a grave site. Like I feel like you should probably leave that place alone. And there's really not much to
And
see.
yeah,
It's on
yeah,
YouTube if you really want to see what it looks like now. I
exactly.
don't
I
think
agree.
I would want to like risk my life to go underwater to see it personally. But I didn't realize
I
how
hear
deep it
you.
was too. I thought it was a lot
Yeah.
further up the ocean.
So crazy.
Probably the most interesting thing that I saw this week was how Facebook created its own version of Twitter and how it's trying to
Oh,
compete, with Twitter, since I know a lot of people are unhappy with how Elon Musk has been running it since he
yeah.
became the CEO. I'm curious to see
Interesting.
how that works out. I know Twitter's planning on potentially suing Meta and Mark
Oh,
Zuckerberg. So
wow.
it'll be a fun thing to kind of
Yeah,
look
interesting.
forward to. But I'm curious about that because I think people want more transparency with these tech companies,
Yeah.
especially with social media. So we'll see.
Yeah. Interesting.
Now, one last non-lacrosse question. What is one item on your bucket list that you hope to do one day?
Oh, I really want to either go to Italy because a lot of my family's like we're really Italian, so I would love to see that. Or skydive because my whole family went skydiving and I wasn't old enough, so now they all have it on like checked on their bucket list. But I would really like to do that.
I don't even know where you would find a skydiving spot. At
I
least
know.
here in the East Coast, I feel like it's all out west.
They did it like in Myrtle Beach, which is funny, South Carolina, because I'm going to South Carolina. So like maybe I could find something out there. But yeah, no, that would sound so cool to me.
Yeah, I personally would never skydive. I'm too scared to do it. Like I said, I wouldn't risk my life doing it.
Yeah.
Also, like you need to be attached to somebody too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I personally wouldn't want to do it, but I think
Yeah.
for me, probably just traveling and seeing different
Oh,
places.
cool. Yeah.
Like especially I know everyone says Europe, but I think it would be cool to like see like the West Coast, go to different parts of
Definitely.
Canada, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of places that people like don't think about traveling to, go to those places and see what it's like.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's cool.
Now, getting back to some lacrosse questions now, for all the younger players listening to this podcast, what advice would you give them on what it takes to be a college lacrosse player like yourself?
Yeah. No, I would definitely just focus on confidence. I mean, I know I've hit on that a lot, but I saw the biggest difference in myself when I really took the time to gain my confidence back and realize that like you're meant to be where you are and run with it. Like your athletic ability will shine through if you just let it. Like just play. Like you're there to have fun and you're there for a reason. So just run with it and have fun. That's like my main thing.
Now, you've mentioned during the podcast that it's been fun to see the growth of women's lacrosse, but what do you think still needs to be done to help grow women's lacrosse from your perspective?
I mean, I think we're in an insane direction already. I mean, I was watching TV the other day and I saw like high school on TV, like girls lacrosse, and I was like, this is sick. Cause like it's already made a huge bump from when I was even really young. But I think just like the same things. I mean, continuing to do camps, I mean, girls training girls, and everyone just kind of proving how sick it is to really be a women's lacrosse player and how cool it is to just continue that legacy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I also think they should try to make it more popular in areas where it's not as popular, like
Yeah,
places
true,
on the
true.
West Coast, and obviously down south where you are. I don't think it doesn't seem like lacrosse is as
Yeah,
down south
yeah,
than it is up here in the New England area and DMV area as well.
yeah,
So I think that would be a big thing because once you continue to grow it in different areas of the country, more people will play. The player pool gets bigger, and then obviously you just get more talented players, which makes it more
definitely.
fun to watch. So that's sort of I think the next big step the sport needs to
Yeah,
try to make.
yeah, great point. Definitely.
Now, any shout outs you want to give to your teammates with Maryland, future teammates with Clemson, family members or friends, and
Yeah.
we have on the podcast next?
I definitely want to shout out, of course, my mom and dad. They've always been a huge part, and my sister. They've always been a huge part of my successes. And they are the reason I am where I am today. Of course, I want to shout out my new Clemson coaches and teammates because I'm super excited. I know the coaches really saw something in me, and I couldn't thank them enough for that because that, of course, feels great. And I'm super excited to get started. And of course, I'm going to shout out Jordan Lipkin because she really made my first 2 years of Maryland just really special. I mean, meeting someone like that is just it's amazing, and to have a friendship continue on is awesome. On the podcast next, I'm definitely gonna say, of course, I'm gonna give you Jordan because I think that she's awesome. She had a great high school career, and she just is doing great at Maryland. Also, Summer Agostino. She is coming to Clemson with me, and she kind of experienced the same thing. Same things. She used to be at Boston College. She's coming with me. Yeah, so I think those would be some cool people.
That's awesome. I think that's cool that you and your sister are so like 6 years apart because she can sort of you can sort of watch her career develop and you can
Yes.
watch hers. I don't know if you saw the in the college softball World Series, there was someone from Stanford who saw her like older sister play at the World Series and had like a sign made. And then like
No
6 years
way.
later, she brought the same sign to see her
Oh, that's sick.
play with
That's
Stanford. I thought
awesome.
that's cool. So just a suggestion if obviously I think Clemson's going to do big things next year.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
your older sister can do something that you did when you were a kid, which
Yes,
is actually fun.
yes, definitely. That'd be awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Demma, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your time. It means so much to myself. I think you're a great player and a great person. And I'm super excited to see the success that you and your teammates have next year. And I really do appreciate getting the chance to meet and have this conversation with you today.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been awesome. It was really, really great meeting you.